Welcome back on Dynamod. Today I want to propose you a video about the review about the Necron Army of Renown, the Annihilation Legion that has been released by the Games Workshop with the White Dwarf number 481 of October 2022. So now we go to see about such thing. Remember that this is something that go to add to the Codex Necron that it's been yet released, and you can find the parts about the Codex Necron in the description. So if you're interested about all the other things available, you can find there. And now, so we can go to see a bit better about such, I can say, detachment, because it's really something that add a lot to the basic Codex Necron. And the first thing to see is about the notes related about such Annihilation Legion. The first thing is that can be composed only of destroyer cults and flayed ones units as keywords. So remember that there is such restriction, and you have to remember that even if it appears on the Flashpoint Nephilim section, because it's an army of that section, it doesn't have any keyword related about that. So it doesn't have the keyword Flashpoint Nephilim. So it means that it can be used freely in every game, and it means also matched play. Moreover, what is the Army of Renown? It's an army that is famous along and so on, but remember that to be such Army of Renown, this one peculiar, it must first adhere to all the restrictions that laid for this Army of Renown specific, and it must be battle forced and must not include any specialist detachment. You can then make in a note in the army list faction that you create in for your roster, and all or some in the case gain the units gain the artifacts, stratagem and so on that are available for that Army of Renown. And you have to note that doesn't mind that you have an army that only have such units. If you don't declare that this is a specific Army of Renown, it doesn't get the benefits of it. So pay attention about this. About the Crusade Army of Renown, it can be used with the normal rules that follow the Crusade, but you can find if you're interested about the Crusade. I'm not usually using it, so I'm not going to explain this. But then we go to see about all the rules related specifically about the Annihilation Legion. And then we go to see about the rules for the Annihilation Legion, the main ones. We start from the restriction that confirm what we have seen before, that only units with the Destroyer cult and Flesh ones, but add one other type of unit that are the Carnotic Plasmacite ones as keyword. Then all units in the army must be drawn from the same dynasty, it's okay, and all units in your army lose the command protocol ability, and it's okay because you'll gain something else cause this, but it's a bit of pity, but at the same time it's comprehensible because you change the way that it works. And as benefit you have different points that you have to take note. All units in your army obviously gain the Annihilation Legion keyword. You have access to the Annihilation Legion Warlord traits, Relics and Stratagem. If your Warlord is included in a Vanguard detachment, the command cost of the detachment is changed to 0 command point. And sincerely, it's good because it means that you can change completely and gain a lot of command points. All of the Destroyer Cults units in your army gain the Cult of Annihilation ability and Annihilation Protocol ability that we see later. The Annihilation Legion Flayed Ones unit that contains 10 or more models at the start of the battle have the Objective Secured ability, and it's nice. And sincerely, I suggest you to think about having all the units of the Flayed Ones of 10 models, but we'll see later if you agree or not, it's up to you. The Annihilation Legion X-Mark Destroyer unit have the HQ battlefield role instead of elites. But pay attention because for each Scorpic Lord or Locust Lord unit in a detachment, one X-Wrath Destroyer unit can be included in the detachment without taking up a battlefield role slot. So it means that if you include one Scorpic Lord or Locust Lord, you can have an X-Mark Destroyer that is an HQ and doesn't occupy the HQ slot. So it can be really quite interesting. And we have then Cult of Annihilation that makes that this unit never gains a dynastic code from the Codex Necron. Each time a model with this unit make an attack, if that attack is made against a unit that was below starting strand when this model was selected to shoot or fight, add 1 to the attack hit roll. Each time a model with this ability makes an attack, if that attack is made against a unit that was below half strength when this model was selected to shoot or fight, add 1 to the attack's wound roll. So if you are able to damage quite a lot your opponent units, you can gain bonuses to both the hit and the wound roll, so even accelerating the destroyment of the opponent. So it's really quite interesting. And then we have the Warlord trait that it's about the Annihilation Legion Warlord that can take this instead of another one. So you have to pay attention because it's a can, not a must. So it's Furious Destructor that makes that each time this Warlord makes a melee attack, a modified hit roll of 6 scores 2 additional hits. Remember that it's only about melee. It's not bad and not so good. It's something that sincerely you have to think about because you can have other choices that are pretty available. And I've had the relics that are available only if your warlord is from the Annihilation Legion, so you have to pay attention. And you can so select one of these to give to one of your characters. So we have Chariot of the Hierarchs that make available only for the Locust Lord, and make that each time an attack is made against the bearer, and a modified wound roll of 1 to 3 for attack fail, irrespectively of any abilities that the weapon or the model making that attack may have, and each time the bearer pile in or consolidate, it can move of an additional 3 inch. Pay attention that this is quite amazing because it means that half of the hits that go against this model, that can be both of melee or shooting, fail. So it's really quite amazing. Then we have Nightcool Shite that make available only for the Scorpic Lord, and this replaces its Hyperphase Harvester, and it's a melee weapon with +2 to the strength, a AP of -4, and 3 damages, with an ability that makes that each time an attack is made with this weapon, except damage it inflicts, it's not lost. Instead, keep allocating asset damage to another model in that target unit until either all the excess damage has been allocated or the target unit is destroyed. So it's applying to normal damage what usually it's only available for the mortal wounds. It's amazing also this about damages. Obviously it's up to you decide if it's worth or you have other choices available. Then you have Mask of Obliteration that it's only for the Exvrat destroyers, that when the bearer is selected to shoot, it can instead shoot in as a normal, focusing the shoots with this specific beam. And if it does so, instead of making the other attacks, it makes that it's a pistol with a number of pistol 1, range 12 inch, strength 9, AP -3, damage D3 +3. But what is important is its ability that make that each time the bearer shoot using this profile, if a hit is scored, draw a straight line between the closest point of this model's base to the closest point of the base or hull of the closest models in the target unit, and make one wound roll against the target unit, and make one wound roll against every other unit the line pass over or through. So it's a sort of line of the wolf, what it was also the blood spear of the blood angel. So it's something that let you really bring damages to more than one unit. You have only to pay attention about how you put this model to use such special attack against an enemy unit, maybe with other unit in the middle. So it's really quite interesting. And I had the Annihilation Protocol. Sincerely, this rules let me a bit down, because they are like the old command protocol, the one on the Codex Necron, and not like the fact one that are much better. Still, we go to see them. So if your army is Annihilation Legion and you select a Scorpic Lord or a Locust Lord model to be your Warlord, this unit is eligible to benefit from this ability, and the following rules apply. So after both sides are deployed, but before you had that in mind who will have the first turn, you must assign a different Annihilation protocol that we see later to each of the first 5 battle rounds, and note this down secretly on your army roster, so that at the start of each battle round, if any Scorpic Lord or Locust Lord unit from your army are on the battlefield, so you have to have them on the battlefield, the Annihilation protocol that you assign to that battle round becomes active for your army until the end of that battle round. Battle round, so it means your turn and your opponent's turn. And each Annihilation protocol is made up of 2 directives. When Annihilation protocol becomes active for your army, reveal it to your opponent and select one of its directives. Until the assigned Annihilation protocol stops being active, while a unit is eligible to benefit from this ability is within 6 inches of a friendly Scorpic Lord or Locust Lord model, that unit benefits from the select directive. So pay attention about this. Anyway, you have to notice that if the battle lasts for more than 5 battle rounds, then until the end of the battle, whichever Annihilation protocol was active at the 5th battle round remain active. But what I want you to notice is that you must have a Scorpic Lord or a Locust Lord on the battlefield, and then to be able to apply such one, at least only within, not wholly within, you have to have those units close to a friendly Scorpic Lord or a Locust Lord to be able to use them. So it's not so difficult, but at the same time it's quite problematic. It's something that really I'm glad that everyone changed about the old command protocols, and instead here it's come back, and sincerely it let me a lot down, because it means that you have to be always closer and you can't really spread out on the battlefield, other than if you play a lot of Scorpic Lord and Locust Lord. So you have to think quite attentively how you have to use such Annihilation protocols. And then we go to see about the specific Annihilation protocols. The first one is Protocol of the Swift Murder. That see the directive 1, each time an attack is made against this unit, if it did not remain stationary this battle round, this unit received the benefit of light cover. So you have to pay attention, because this directive means that you should not use in the first battle round, because if your opponent starts, you are remaining stationary, because you haven't moved at all. You could not move. So pay attention about. Instead, Directive 2 is that this unit is eligible to perform heroic intervention as if it were a charged unit. So quite interesting. We had the second one, that it's Protocol of the Killing Surge. The see the Directive 1 that add 2 to the more characteristic of models in this unit. And Directive 2 that see this unit is eligible to charge in a turn in which it fell back. So it's perfect for the first and second battle round, this one, because it allows you to move faster. Then we have Protocol of the Dread Strike, the see Directive 1 being each time a mod in this unit make a melee attack and a modified hit roll of 6 automatically wound the target. Not bad. Directive 2, each time a mod in this unit make a ranged attack and a modified hit roll of 6 add 1 to that attack wound roll. So this could be really quite used in the second, third turn, or even fourth without any problems, because you had to need to be or in close combat or to shoot. Then we have Protocol of the Undying Gaze, that see Directive 1, each time a model in this unit make a ranged attack, the target a unit within half range, that target does not receive the benefit of cover against that attack. Directive 2, if this unit is performing an action, it can still make attacks with ranged weapon without that action failing. This one it's mainly interesting for the directive 2, so you have to pay attention about the actions that are available for your mission. Then we have the fifth one, that it's protocol of perfect destruction, that make that directive 1 it's add 1 to charge roll made for this unit, and directive 2, each time a mod in this unit pile in or consolidates, it can moves up to an additional 3 inch. So this is really quite nice. Also this one for the first turn, but also second and third can be really quite useful. And we had then the last one, that's the protocol of the Immortal Warrior, that see directive 1 add 1 to the functionality characteristic of models in this unit, and directive 2 improve the save characteristic of models in this unit by 1. Models in this unit cannot have save characteristic better than 2 plus, and the vulnerable saves obviously are unaffected. Still, this one is quite a way to defense, so it can be really quite interesting, because it could be also available for turn 1 if you are almost sure that the opponent will start, or you want to resist at the end of the battle because you want to save more. So there are a lot of ways that you can play. It's a sort of jolly, this one. And about such annihilation protocols, as you see, they're not so bad, they're not so good, but the problem is that you have to decide these ones at beginning of the battle, before the battle begin. So you have really to understand and plan what you want to do, because you have to plan what you do in the case that your opponent start or you start. So based on the type of army that you are going to fight against, it's better to have yet planned how you want to program such ones, because it will be really important the choose of how you go about these annihilation protocols. Then we had the stratagems, and the first one that we see is Swift Dismemberment, that costs 1 command point, that make that use this stratagem in your charge phase, select one destroyer cult unit from your army, so only destroyer cult, and until the end of the turn, that unit is eligible to charge in a turn in which it advanced. And I want to remember you that you have the option about protocol of the clean surge eventually as the one to apply in the first battle round if you think about the order to use such stratagem. Then you have Hyperphase Impalement, that is 1 command point. Use this stratagem in a fight phase when a Ophidian destroy unit from your army is selected to fight. Until that fight is resolved, each time a mod in that unit makes a melee attack, rules that in your wounds cannot be used. So it can be really quite interesting to improve the Ophidian destroyers. Then we have Efficient Disintegration, that it costs 2 command points. Use this stratagem in any phase when a locust destroyers or a locust heavy destroyers keywords unit from your army is selected to shoot. Until the end of that phase, each time a mod in that unit makes an attack with a Gauss cannon or a Gauss destructor, add 1 to the damage roll for that attack. So quite interesting to improve your shooting. Then we have Larkin Murderers, that can cost 1 or 2 command points, and we see how. Use this stratagem at the start of the fight phase, select one flayed one unit from your army that is wholly within an area terrain feature. So remember that wholly within area terrain feature. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, you can re-roll the wound roll. If the unit contains 11 or more model, this stratagem costs 2 command points, otherwise instead it costs 1 command point. And it's the reason why I said you that it's better if you have 10 models for the flayed ones, because they are the objective securing rule having, and at the same time it costs less to use eventually such one. Obviously this has the problem about being inside another terrain feature eventually. Then you have Murderous Demise, that costs 2 command points, and make that use this stratagem in the fight phase when a character model from your army that has not already been selected to fight this phase is destroyed. Instead of using any other ability that trigger when that model is destroyed, do not remove that model from play. After the attacking model's unit has finished making attacks, that destroyed models can neither shoot as if it were your shooting phase, or be selected to fight. After solving the destroyed model attacks, it's then removed. So it's a way to make it full use of each other, so it's a last standing at the end, so it's quite interesting. Then we have unofficial reinforcement that make that use this stratagem in the reinforcement step of your movement phase. Select one unofficial plasma site unit from your army that has been destroyed. Then set that unit up again anywhere on the battlefield within 3 inches of a flanking destroyer cult and not within engagement range of any enemy models. You can use this stratagem only once. Okay, this is really quite interesting because it has more tactical than effective effect. Because it can, for example, make that you can control obviously, because you can gain the obviously you have to be within 3 inches, so it means that you can gain almost 4 inches of size for the unit, or you can gain something that makes you having bonuses gained by the plasma site. So it's something that you really have to think quite interesting. Then you have weaponized bodies, that is 2 command points, that make that use this stratagem in your charge phase. When a destroyer cult unit from your army finishes a charge move, select one enemy unit within engagement range of that destroyer cult unit, and for each mod in that destroyer cult unit that is within engagement range of that enemy unit, roll a number of d6 equal to that model wound characteristic. For each result of 5+, that enemy unit suffer 1 mortal wound to a maximum of 6 mortal wounds. So it means that you can gain a lot, so bigger is the unit that you apply such stratagem on, more is available the option to have wounds available. So higher is the number of the dice, so it's easier to make such mortal wounds. So it can be really quite interesting, because anyway, you are charging, rolling, making mortal wounds, and then combat. So it can be really quite interesting. Then you have the last one, that it's a moment of clarity that costs 2 command points that make that use this stratagem in your command phase. Select one Annihilation Legion unit from your army, so without any other things that having the keyword Annihilation Legion, and until the start of your next command phase, that unit has the objective secured ability. So it's a way to make also the Cult of Destroyers as keyword units have the objective secure. So it can be really quite useful. This one is mainly one of the main to remember, because it can change quite a lot the conquer objective and so on. So pay attention about this. What to say about such Annihilation Legion? Sincerely, I think that it's not bad, but I don't like the Annihilation protocols, because they're working, not because the Annihilation protocols themselves. Sincerely, I prefer the later ones about the command protocols as working, and sincerely, I find the same problems that the original ones had than these Annihilation protocols, so I'm not quite sure about such. Still, it's a peculiar army, and I'd like to test it on the battlefield sometime, because anyway, it's nice. Even if I admit I have all the characters, but none of the other units that are involved in this. Still, I like as idea anyway. From Dino Mode, it's everything. I invite you to put a like on this video, to subscribe to the channel, to ring the bell, and to comment this video if you are interested in something about this video, or you want to suggest me some arguments for other videos. I hope to see you again to the next time.